So now a lot of people are probably going to say, oh, well, then I just want silver because of blah. Go back to its functionality. We've talked many times, and I've shown you this before, that before we get to that visible hyperinflation, that silver to gold ratio, right? The price of spot silver to the price of spot gold. It's been at nosebleed levels, like 110 times or something ridiculous like that. And remember what the original ratio was: a 20th of an ounce of gold, what I have in my fingers, to 1 ounce of silver, right? So 110 to 1 is a far cry away from that 20 to 1. So my expectation is to see, because this is what history shows me, is that that ratio will narrow. And then as we enter the hyperinflationary phase, I believe it will grow again, because again, that's what history shows me. I'm also going to give you a bit of a longer view on this, because this is, again, the US dollar to the British pound, but now this is going out 10 years. And you can see in the 10 years, the dollar is not even 12% stronger than the British pound. It's so irrelevant, but this is what we hear all the time. So understanding when they say that, what that actually means, empowers you to understand what they're saying. Here is the spot silver chart over 10 years, up 421%. And here is the spot gold chart. Now, what's interesting to me, because that's up 349.53%. This is all over a 10-year period. Typically, you don't, and I do this all the time, you guys know that, you typically don't see spot silver outperforming, but that's the level that it's outperformed in this last year. So this is a repetition of history. It's a good thing, but it shows you the truth, or closer to the truth anyway, of what's happening with the fiat money, and why we are probably hearing all over the place that it is the devaluation trade, and that now even Wall Street is saying every currency is falling against gold and silver. But paper will not help you. You gotta have the physical. So that answers the question that I had on the British pound, because it doesn't matter relative to the purchasing power, which is what we're looking at here. And you can see that gray bar that you see in the middle is 2020, that itty bitty teeny weeny recession, into this massive K-shaped economy that is getting even more K-shaped, which means that those that are at the top are doing better and better and better because of the inflation, and those at the bottom are doing worse and worse and worse. And when you look at these different charts and you see the dollar against whatever currency you want, what you don't see is what I'm showing you here, the purchasing power. But that's what the spot charts are telling you. And even though the talking heads in Wall Street are talking about gold and silver a whole lot more here, they never put the term spot in front of it, which they should, because that's a contract. This is not a contract. This is the real thing. But this is what matters to you and me, not how many dollars we have. I'll just use this one. This is $1 million bolivar that I can, or a million bolivars actually, that I can buy nothing with. It doesn't matter how many zeros there are on the end. What matters is what you can convert it into. They don't want you to look at that, but you experience it every time you go to the grocery store, you have to pay a bill. You're experiencing that. And then what this is, I wanted to do a little update on Zimbabwe gold, right? So this is the ZIG, Zimbabwe gold, against the US dollar. And you can see that recent reset that happened in October of 2024. You can also see how it kind of looks like it's leveling out, but not really. This is spot silver to the zig or the zwig, and this is spot gold. So again, really interesting because of what's happening in the spot silver market. And I can't go out 10 years because it hasn't existed for 10 years. This just goes back to April of 2024 when they brought out this 6th iteration of a new currency. And again, don't miss that interview on Saturday. It was phenomenal. We didn't put the audio in here where he's talking about spot gold, but you can see the NASDAQ that's coming in, erasing December losses, except what really matters is the purchasing power and what you can convert that into. That is what really matters. And also, I thought this was an interesting headline. JP Morgan is exploring crypto trading for institutional clients. Pet rock? No longer. There is this massive rush by the institutions and the governments and even the central banks, because the central banks are now exploring it. They will be shoving this crap down our throats. Can you see how important it is to get redeemable gold, sound money back in the system again? Do you really want them to have you have no privacy anyway. I don't care what you're doing. You're on camera constantly, no matter where you are, even in your own homes with smart TVs and cell phones and all of this. Do you really want them to be able to play you like a puppet? Because that's what they do now. How much worse will it be when they know 100% of everything that you do and can push a button and say, nope, can't do that. Must do this. I don't want them to have that level of control. Do you? That's the question that you have to ask yourself. And if your answer is yes, then rock and roll hoochie coo and just keep playing into the fiat money markets. But if your answer is no, make sure you have your sound money strategy fully in place and executed. And don't worry about what's happening so much in the spot markets. Any bullion's going to be impacted on the short term, and this is just raw. This kind of stuff will be impacted by that. But the better data coins, as impacted as they will be, are not as impacted by it. What it does is the more that the spot market goes up, it gets more eyes. And when things get more eyes, which is how they get compliance and adoption, all right, so more people are looking at buying gold and silver, and that's okay as long as they come here to get the education to understand why they really need gold and silver. And they're not just treating it, and you're just not treating it like a trade. Because gold and silver is not a trade for me. It is my insurance. It is the foundation of my legacy, because this is sound money that cannot be inflated away by governments and central banks. And while they can control those contracts, so that's pretty handy for them, in the physical world, in the physical only world, which is what the collectibles are, that they can't control because it's purely supply and demand. And I'll even tell you something else that I find quite interesting. People that I've spoken to years and years ago that said, oh, just bullion, oh, the collectibles, oh, no, blah, 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 blah. Guess what they're talking about now? Isn't that interesting? They're talking about the collectibles more and more. I'm not going to use the names on air, but if you go back and look at some of the work that some of these people have done, they poo-pooed it, and now they're embracing it. Why are they embracing it? And does that mean that they understand it? No, they do not. This is where I have lived my life. I understand how these markets move, and I understand the opportunities.